Welcome everyone to week number 4 in Science 200. We are almost at the midway point of the term, so realize that you're moving right along in the course. And so let's see what we've got going on. So last week you learned all about finding sources. You figured out how to use the Shapiro Library, Google Scholar, PubMed to find some good scientific sources about your topic. And then you evaluated them because you have to. Every time you look at a source, you need to figure out whether this is a credible source. That's a number one importance right there. You look to see if this was relevant. Is this going to help you answer your question about your topic? And then you took a look at the information itself. What kind of information is this giving you? I want to encourage you, if you did not find enough information in your 3 sources, to go out and find some more sources. As you looked at these scholarly journal articles, you did notice, right, that they have tons and tons and tons of references. So 3 sources is a bare minimum. If you need more than that, go out and find some more. All right, read chapter 4 and work through the exercises. And during this chapter, you're going to figure out who your audience is, and that's going to be very important. I'm going to talk about that. In chapter 4, you're going to learn about the levels of scientific communication. So if you're going out to the general public and you're talking about a pandemic, for example, you are going to have to word it on the level of the general public, right? As opposed to going to a scientific meeting of your colleagues who are in the same field, who know all of the research. You will have a totally different type of presentation with that group. And then if you look at it, if you want to go and talk to some kindergartners about a pandemic, wouldn't you completely change the way that you talk about it? And you have to use specific language. You have to get down on their level of learning, right? So this is terribly important. There are levels of scientific communication. The highest level is where you write your research and present it to your peers, people who are doing the same type of research, who know the ins and outs of it, who know all the background information. This would be scholarly journals that you would submit your work to. So these are research articles. So that's one level of communication. Right down below that, you have review articles. These are written by people who are experts in this particular topic, and they gather information from lots of different sources to put together to help anyone understand what this is all about. So review articles are awesome. Plus, they give you lots of good references because this is a complete literature review in a review article. And then you move down the line to news articles, to blogs, to just general information that might be found on social media, that sort of thing. So you have to decide your level of scientific communication when you are going to present to an audience. We're getting to that. Check your feedback on your questions. Make sure you make revisions and corrections as you go along. You might need more information. This week you're putting together quite a bit of information. Like in week 3, you evaluated all of your sources, but I really didn't evaluate anything that you wrote about those. So you will include that in this week's rough draft. This week you're going to turn in your rough draft, and so this includes a lot of information about your topic, and we're going to get into that in just a second. You're going to decide who your audience is. So is your audience a group of governmental officials who are making decisions about human habitation and how we are destroying biodiversity? Is this group of the general public who come to listen to you talk about electric vehicles because they're not sure about them? They want to know what the ins and outs are, what the benefits and drawbacks are. Are you presenting this to a bunch of middle school students who definitely are enthusiastic and want to know more about the topic, but they aren't on a certain level of understanding. So you're going to have to explain that to them. So who is your audience? I cannot tell you how important it is to realize this. You cannot talk to a group of kindergartners on the same level as you talk to peers in your same field. Also, you're going to include what are your natural principles. So natural principles are overarching ideas in science that have to do with your particular topic. So if you're talking about electric vehicles, for example, why do we have electric vehicles? Because we're trying to decrease carbon emissions, specifically carbon dioxide emissions into the atmosphere. So the carbon cycle is a very important natural principle for your particular topic. If you're not sure about this, because maybe you don't know what they are, if you're not sure, please just ask me. I will be happy to help you with this, because believe me, I can think of some and I can help you with this. And we're also going to take a look at your sources that you came up with for your question. You're going to write out what you learned about them, not that you just did learn something from them. What did you learn? This is very important because you have to understand what you learned from the sources. And so you're telling me what you learned and were the sources relevant and credible. No discussion board postings for this week. You are going to concentrate on this rough draft this week for assignment. All right, here is the guidelines. There's my face in the middle of it, but that's all right. Here are your guidelines for this week's assignment. And you can see that this is pretty extensive because you're putting together a bunch of work that you've already done and adding to it. So the whole introduction, notice that these are marked off into sections, and you need to do this in your paper also. So Roman numeral 1, introduction. This is not an English essay, okay? You have to show me what the sections are so that I know that you know what it is you're describing. So the introduction describes the issue and why it's significant. What does that sound like? Maybe week 2? Yeah, weeks 1 and 2. So that was that assignment. Go back and look at it and see if I gave you any feedback. Describe at least 3 of your scientific sources. Now, when it says describe, this does not mean one sentence. Describe means a paragraph. A paragraph is 3 sentences or more. You need to describe what you learned about your topic from each of these sources. Okay, this is very important because I need to know what information you glean from them. You should have developed a specific topic. You recognize that. You've already done that. So this is what you've already done, the introduction. Now, in the body of this paper, you'll notice this is new stuff. So where you identify an audience, so tell me who it is that you will be speaking to through your presentation. And think about who would benefit from learning about this particular topic, who would be interested in this topic, right? And then you're going to describe how you're going to tailor your presentation to that particular audience. What are your strategies going to be to help you communicate with that audience and give specific examples of this? That's why I put that in red right there. It doesn't look like that in your in the document that you have. And then finally, this last section is about these natural science principles that I just mentioned. So what are some overarching principles in science that have to do with your particular topic? And like I said, if you don't know what they are, if you can't figure out anything, then you need to ask me because I can help you with this. So you're going to identify them in this section, body, section 2, subsection 3, identify the natural science principles. And then in 4, you are going to explain these principles and how they apply to your particular topic. Okay, so how does the carbon cycle apply to electric vehicles because they don't sound like they're related to each other, but they are extremely related to each other. Okay? Like I said, if you have any questions, please just let me know. And with that being said, this is a creek stream in Scotland, and my hotel was right next to this, which is awesome. So tip of the week, ask if you get stumped. That's what I'm here for. I've been doing science for a long time, so I am here willing and able to help you. So please just ask if you have any questions. This is a big assignment. And the rest of what you're doing in the term builds on this particular assignment. So we need to work hard on it and work correctly so that you get everything you can out of this assignment to help you move forward. m.sigmon@snhu.edu. That's my email address. With that being said, I hope that you have a wonderful week this week.